Well, it looks like we may have a pretty good idea of when Caitlin Clark is next going to play basketball, and it's not during the WNBA season. At least that's not the next thing that she's got her eye on. It's not Unrivaled, and it's not Athletes Unlimited, but it is sooner than the WNBA season.
Caitlin Clark just dropped the most shocking news in women's basketball, and it's not what anyone expected. The superstar rookie flat out refuses to come back to basketball the way everyone thought she would. No Unrivaled League, no Athletes Unlimited, no overseas paychecks that could set her up for life. She's saying no to everything, and the basketball world is completely losing its mind. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. While every other player is chasing that off-season money, Clark is playing a completely different game. She's not just sitting on her couch eating ice cream and watching Netflix. Oh no, this girl has a master plan that's about to flip the entire sport upside down. The rumors started flying when Clark's name was nowhere to be found on any offseason roster. Fans were refreshing social media every 5 minutes waiting for an announcement. Where's Caitlin going to play? Which league threw the biggest bag at her? The silence was deafening and people started panicking. Not only that, but the Indiana Fever weren't giving anyone straight answers either. Every press conference sounded like they were reading from a medical textbook. Day-to-day evaluations, precautionary measures, load management protocols. It was like they hired a team of lawyers to write their injury reports. Meanwhile, Clark's competitors are making bank overseas. Some players are pulling in 6-figure contracts just for a few months of work. The money is sitting right there on the table, and Clark is walking away from it without even blinking. That takes serious confidence or serious stupidity, and knowing Clark, it's definitely not stupidity. Here's the plot twist that nobody saw coming. Clark isn't avoiding basketball because she's scared or broken. She's avoiding it because she's planning something way bigger, something that's going to make every other player's offseason paycheck look like pocket change.
Oh, she didn't look like her usual self. Though her counting stats, 16.5 points, 5 rebounds, 8.8 assists, were still impressive. She shot 36.7% from the field, including 27.9% from three-point range, and had 3 games without a three, something that previously hadn't happened since her sophomore season at Iowa. Quote, "I would never speak for Caitlin, but it's frustrating as an athlete to go through injury when you're not able to do what you love to do." White said, "Certainly having setbacks, then working your way back, then having another setback, all of that is frustrating. While it's frustrating, it's important that we get her back to 100% and she's comfortable. She's confident that she's healthy and that she can move forward in a way that continues to build on her career and her franchise."
The basketball world has been treating Clark's silence like she's retired or given up. Sports talk shows are debating whether she can handle the pressure. Haters are saying she's already washed up after 1 season. The hot takes are flying faster than her three-pointers used to. But wait, there's more. While everyone's busy writing her obituary, Clark has been quietly working behind the scenes.
Playing in Unrivaled this offseason and has also passed on Athletes Unlimited. Okay, so she is not playing in that league. That's confirmation. Another domestic off-season league, nor will she be going overseas, even though offers would surely be lucrative.
She's not posting workout videos or throwing shade on social media. She's keeping her mouth shut and her head down, which is exactly what you do when you're cooking up something special. The truth is, Clark's refusal to play in these off-season leagues isn't a retreat, it's a power move. She's betting on herself in a way that's either gonna make her look like a genius or completely backfire in her face. And knowing Clark's track record, smart money says she knows exactly what she's doing.
Instead, she said during her exit interview, her main focus during the winter is, quote, "really just getting my body healthy." Caitlin Clark does want to suit up for Team USA in the spring, however. Though the Americans have already qualified for the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup, they will still participate in a qualifying tournament in San Juan, Puerto Rico from March 11.
Let's take a moment to rewind and talk about this injury situation because nothing about it makes any sense. Clark supposedly had a groin strain and a high ankle sprain back in July. That's 4 months ago. 4 months. NFL players come back from torn ligaments faster than this, but somehow Clark's ankle was made of glass and bubble wrap. The Indiana Fever turned into the most secretive organization in sports. Every update sounded like they were protecting state secrets, minor tightness, precautionary steps, day-to-day evaluation. They used more medical jargon than a hospital drama, and none of it explained why their superstar was sitting out for half a year. Here's what really happened behind closed doors. The Fever medical staff either has no idea what they're doing, or they're hiding something way bigger than a simple ankle injury. Because, let's be honest, a groin strain that lasts 4 months isn't a groin strain anymore. That's a full-blown mystery wrapped in medical tape and covered up with corporate speak. Clark went from dropping triple doubles on opening night to barely playing 5 games in a row all season. The girl who used to pull up from the logo and talk trash to players twice her size suddenly looked scared to make a hard cut.
Selected for the team, those games will be the first time she sees real action since July 15th. In order to make sure she's ready by then, the Fever will not skip any steps over the next few weeks and months.
Something happened, and the Fever aren't telling anybody what it really was. But here's the kicker. While Clark was supposedly too hurt to play basketball, she was somehow healthy enough to do interviews and make appearances. She could sit at a desk and talk for an hour, but couldn't run up and down a court for 20 minutes? The math doesn't add up, and fans started connecting the dots. The conspiracy theories started flying. Some people thought it was really about team chemistry issues with Kelsey Mitchell. Others believed the Fever were tanking on purpose to get a better draft pick. The wildest theory was that Clark was secretly negotiating with other teams and using the injury as cover. Not only that, but the Fever's communication strategy was a complete disaster. Every press conference made things worse. Coach Stephanie White would say Clark was day-to-day, then she'd miss 3 weeks. They'd announce she was ramping up activities, then she'd disappear again. It was like watching a soap opera written by people who failed basic storytelling. The fans weren't buying it either. Social media exploded with people calling out the Fever for being shady. The hashtag Save Caitlyn started trending. People were demanding answers, medical records, video proof of her actually being hurt. The organization lost all credibility with their own fan base. Here's where things get really suspicious. Right around the time Clark's injury timeline stopped making sense, reports started leaking about her exit interview. She supposedly told management that her main focus was getting her body healthy. But healthy from what exactly? Nobody could give a straight answer. The truth is, Clark's injury saga was either the worst case of medical malpractice in sports history or the most elaborate cover-up since Watergate. Either way, the Fever handled it so badly that they made their own franchise look incompetent, and now Clark's silence is starting to make perfect sense. Now here's where the story takes a complete 180. While everyone's been freaking out about Clark's refusal to play off-season basketball, she's been secretly planning the most genius comeback strategy in sports history. March 11th through 17th, Team USA, Puerto Rico, World Cup qualifying tournament. This isn't just a return to basketball. This is a masterclass in how to control your own narrative. Multiple sources around Team USA are confirming that Clark is expected to be fully cleared by late February. Not day-to-day, not precautionary evaluation, fully cleared and ready to dominate on the international stage. The same ankle that supposedly couldn't handle WNBA games is suddenly strong enough for Team USA. Either modern medicine worked a miracle, or someone's been playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. But wait, it gets even better. Clark choosing Team USA over off-season leagues isn't just about the money she's leaving on the table, it's about the stage she's choosing instead. Unrivaled might pay well, but nobody cares about Unrivaled. Athletes Unlimited might offer decent contracts, but Athletes Unlimited doesn't get primetime coverage on ESPN. Team USA in Puerto Rico, that's appointment television. That's every major network fighting for broadcast rights. That's millions of casual fans who haven't watched women's basketball since the Olympics suddenly tuning in to see if America's Golden Girl still has it. Clark didn't just pick a team, she picked the biggest possible spotlight. Here's the genius part that nobody's talking about. Clark will be playing her first meaningful basketball in 7 months on the international stage. Wearing a Team USA jersey, representing her country, you can't write a better comeback story if you tried. It's patriotic, it's inspiring, and it's perfectly timed to maximum hype before the WNBA season starts. The timing is absolutely perfect too. March gives her exactly 7 weeks to shake off any rust before the WNBA season begins in May. If she struggles in Puerto Rico, she has time to fix whatever's broken. If she dominates, she rides that momentum straight into what could be the most hyped WNBA season in history. Not only that, but Team USA has already qualified for the World Cup. These games are basically glorified exhibition matches for chemistry and rhythm. There's zero pressure, maximum exposure, and unlimited opportunities to remind everyone why she's the biggest name in women's basketball. It's like having a practice run with the entire world watching. Coach Stephanie White finally started using basketball terms again instead of medical jargon. 3-on-3, 2-on-2, building to 5-on-5. Clark is training at 90 to 100% intensity. That's not rehab language, that's comeback preparation. They're not testing her ankle anymore, they're testing her timing and decision making. Here's what makes this move absolutely brilliant. Every other star player is grinding through off-season leagues for money Clark doesn't even need. Meanwhile, she's positioning herself as the face of American basketball while getting paid by USA Basketball to do it. She gets the best training, the best medical staff, and the best possible platform for her return. The basketball world is about to remember why Caitlin Clark breaks the internet every time she touches a ball. March can't come fast enough. Let's talk about what really happened when Caitlin Clark went down, because the WNBA is in full panic mode and trying to pretend everything is fine. The league spent decades begging for mainstream attention, and when Clark finally delivered it on a silver platter, they watched it all disappear faster than a Shaq free throw. Those record-breaking TV ratings from Clark's first few games, gone. The social media engagement that had basketball Twitter actually caring about the WNBA vanished. Jersey sales that were making executives dance in their offices cooled off like yesterday's pizza. The league went from feeling like the hottest thing in sports back to fighting for scraps on ESPN's highlight reel. But here's the devastating part. The WNBA had tasted what real mainstream success felt like, and losing it hurt worse than never having it at all. Post-game press conferences went from packed rooms with actual reporters to half-empty spaces with the same 3 beat writers asking boring questions. The energy just died. Television networks that were throwing money at WNBA games suddenly remembered they had other programming to worry about. Those primetime slots that seemed guaranteed, back to being filled with baseball reruns and poker tournaments. The league's golden ticket got injured and everybody started looking for the exit. Not only that, but other players started feeling the difference immediately. Suddenly their own games weren't getting the same coverage. Their highlights weren't trending on social media. The casual fans who showed up for Clark weren't sticking around to watch anyone else. It was like watching a party empty out the second the main attraction left. The WNBA's marketing department probably had nightmares for months. They'd built their entire 2024 strategy around Clark's star power, and when she went down, they had no backup plan. You can't just replace the player who single-handedly brought millions of new eyeballs to your sport. There is no plan B for that level of cultural impact. Here's where it gets really desperate. League offices started pushing other storylines harder than a used car salesman. They tried making Asia Wilson the face of the league. They highlighted rookie rivalries. They promoted playoff matchups. Nothing stuck. The casual fans were gone, and they weren't coming back without their favorite player. Even the diehard WNBA fans could feel the difference. Games that used to generate buzz on social media were getting ignored. Highlight plays that should have been viral moments barely got retweeted. The league had gotten addicted to Clark's ability to make everything feel important, and withdrawal was brutal. But wait, there's more. The financial impact hit every level of the organization. Merchandise sales dropped. Ticket sales slowed down. Sponsorship deals that seemed locked up suddenly became questionable. Corporate partners who were ready to write big checks started asking awkward questions about viewership projections. The WNBA had spent 25 years building a loyal but small fan base. Clark brought them mainstream relevance in 25 games. Losing that momentum felt like watching a lifetime of work disappear overnight. The league went from feeling unstoppable to feeling invisible again. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark way more than Caitlin Clark needs the WNBA. She proved that one player really can change everything, and her absence proved that losing one player can destroy everything just as fast. March isn't just about her comeback, it's about the league's survival. Here's the bombshell that's about to change everything. Caitlin Clark's March return isn't just a comeback story, it's about to become the most watched women's basketball event in history. When she steps onto that court in Puerto Rico wearing a Team USA jersey, every record the WNBA thought was impressive is going to look like child's play. NBC, ESPN, and Fox Sports are probably already in bidding wars for those broadcast rights. This isn't just appointment television, this is drop everything and watch television. The girl who brought millions of casual fans to women's basketball is coming back on the biggest possible stage, and the entire sports world is going to lose its collective mind. But here's what makes this absolutely insane. Clark's first game back will likely generate more buzz than the WNBA finals. That's not an exaggeration, that's just math. Her Iowa games regularly outdrew NBA playoff games. Her WNBA debut broke viewership records that had stood for decades. Now imagine that same energy focused on one international tournament. The social media explosion is going to be unprecedented. Every no-look pass will break Twitter. Every deep three-pointer will crash Instagram. Every highlight will go viral faster than dance trends. Clark's return will dominate sports coverage for weeks, and the WNBA will ride that wave straight into their most successful season ever. Not only that, but this comeback narrative writes itself. America's basketball princess returns from injury to lead Team USA. The girl who got hurt playing for a struggling franchise comes back healthy and dominant on the international stage. Hollywood couldn't script a better redemption story if they tried. Every major sports network is going to treat Clark's first Team USA game like the second coming of basketball. Pre-game shows will run for hours. Post-game analysis will break down every possession. The coverage will be so intense that other sports will get pushed to the background. This is appointment viewing that transcends basketball. Here's the part that's gonna shock everyone. If Clark dominates in Puerto Rico, she doesn't just lock up an Olympic roster spot, she becomes the face of American basketball heading into Paris. The Olympics with Caitlin Clark as the headliner? That's a global audience that makes the WNBA's wildest dreams look conservative. The ripple effects are already starting. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games next season are going to skyrocket. Jersey pre-orders are going to crash websites. Corporate sponsors who thought they missed their chance are going to throw money at anything Clark related. Her return will create a financial tsunami that lifts the entire league. But wait, there's more. Clark's refusal to play in off-season leagues suddenly looks like genius-level brand management. While other players were grinding for paychecks nobody cared about, she was building anticipation for a comeback that will generate more attention than all those leagues combined. She turned absence into anticipation, and anticipation into pure marketing gold. The pressure is going to be intense, but Clark thrives under pressure. She's proven that the bigger the stage, the better she performs. Puerto Rico isn't just about getting back in game shape, it's about reminding everyone why she's the most electrifying player in women's basketball. Here's the bottom line. March 11th through 17th will reshape women's basketball forever. Clark's return will prove that one player really can change an entire sport. The WNBA is about to get their golden goose back, and this time they better not let her get hurt. If you're enjoying this breakdown and want to see more content analyzing the biggest stories in women's basketball, smash that subscribe button and join the conversation.